than I am dreaming. Oh,
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 Home Alone facts that will ruin your childhood.
Look what you did, you little jerk!
For this list, we're looking at details about this Christmas classic that'll leave both hands on your cheeks, screaming like Kevin. Do you have any Home Alone trivia to share? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. The Wet Bandits would have died in real life. Like Looney Tunes and Three Stooges, Home Alone lives by the philosophy that the more painful the slapstick looks, the bigger the laugh.
I'm up here, you morons! Come and get me! You guys give up, or you're thirsty for more?
While the audience feels Harry and Marv suffering, their injuries look minor given everything they endure. Harry's scalp would have been horribly scarred from the flamethrower trap, while Marv would be left with more than just an imprint from the falling iron. If those traps didn't kill them, the numerous slips and paint cans to the head would have. The question isn't whether or not they would have survived Kevin's House of Horrors. It's how many times they would have died.
Don't worry, Marv, I'll get him for you!
Several doctor reaction videos can attest to this. Kids may accept the Wet Bandits bouncing back, but they would not have lived to see the sequel. Number 9. Chris Farley's failed audition. It's bittersweet watching Home Alone knowing that it's one of John Candy's last movies.
Well, these are songs.
Yeah, some fairly big hits for us, in the early 70s, Yeah, we sold about 623 copies of that.
In Chicago?
No, Sheboygan. Very big in Sheboygan. They loved it,
I'm sorry, did you say you could help me?
The film almost featured a second comedy giant who we lost far too soon, Chris Farley. No, Farley wasn't up to play Gus Polinski, but another jolly guy. Well, not that jolly. We all remember the disgruntled Santa impersonator that Kevin meets.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
Yeah, if you make it quick, Santa's got a little get-together he's late for.
Okay. I know you're not the real Santa Claus.
What makes you say that? Just out of curiosity.
I'm old enough to know how it works.
He was played by Second City's Ken Hudson Campbell in his debut film role. Farley also auditioned, but according to Chris Columbus, quote, he was not in particularly great shape. Columbus personally knew Farley and thought he was the, quote, sweetest guy.
let me tell you a little bit about myself so that you'll know where I'm coming from.
Farley was seemingly exhausted, though, and the audition flopped. As funny as Campbell is here, Columbus thinks Farley also could have been great. It's one performance we'll sadly never see. Number 8. Angels with Filthy Souls isn't a real movie. Arguably the most violent moment in Home Alone is not any of the booby traps, but the gangster flick Angels with Filthy Souls.
Guys, I'm eating junk and watching rubbish. You better come out and stop me.
Don't you love what they could get away with in early 90s PG movies? The only downside is that the film doesn't really exist. This snippet of the black and white movie within a movie was shot in just a day specifically for Home Alone.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
All right, Johnny, I'm sorry. I'm going.
1, 2, 10.
Even more disappointing, we were deprived of a clever callback. In a scene that didn't make the cut, the crime film would have been playing at a prison, with Harry and Marv realizing that Kevin duped them again. The good news is that the film was inspired by a James Cagney classic, Angels with Dirty Faces. Just keep 8-year-old eyes away.
I'll do anything.
Oh, no, you won't. You got your last chance, and you take this with you.
Number 7. Kevin's treehouse is no more. For most of the interior shots, the filmmakers constructed sets in New Trier High School's gymnasium and swimming pool. This school was also used as a shooting location for another John Hughes production, Uncle Buck. While much of the mayhem occurred on sound stages, a real suburban house was used for the exterior shots. Anyone who wants to see the McAllister house can drive by 671 Lincoln Avenue, Winnetka, Illinois.
Did they come back?
The house, owned by the Abendschein family at the time of filming, hasn't drastically changed since the 90s. Fans will notice a key piece missing, though: Kevin's treehouse. This set piece was made just for the movie and got dismantled immediately after. So any visitors hoping to take a zipline ride are in for a letdown. Number 6. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof. Rummaging through his older brother's belongings, Kevin stumbles upon a framed photo of his brother's girlfriend, delivering this line.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
As funny as Macaulay Culkin's reaction is, even the filmmakers realized that it would be too mean-spirited to cast a girl for this one-joke role where her appearance was the punchline.
So, you're not at all worried about Kevin?
Columbus knew it would make the actress, quote, feel bad for the rest of her life. According to Devin Rattray, who played Buzz, his character's girlfriend was portrayed by the son of the film's art director Dan Webster. Webster's son was in on the joke and was more than happy to participate.
Is this a joke?
Of course, Rattray suspects that he might have had second thoughts about accepting the gig had he known what a colossal hit Home Alone would become. Number 5. The tarantula on Marv's face was real. In addition to criticizing Buzz's girlfriend, Kevin accidentally destroys his brother's room and releases his pet tarantula.
All right. Buzz is life-saving.
This works out well for Kevin, as the tarantula provides a quick getaway when Marv snatches him. Nowadays, that spider probably would have been CGI. In the 90s, you would think they'd use a practical effect.
I got him!
According to Daniel Stern, the filmmakers were going to use a mechanical tarantula when Kevin puts the hairy spider on Marv's face. On the day of shooting, Stern found out that the replica looked too fake.
And so we got to the day of shooting, and I said, where's that mechanical tarantula? Because I saw the box with the big hairy one. And they said, yeah, that didn't work out. Didn't look real.
So they turned to the real deal. While an animal wrangler was present, they couldn't remove the tarantula's poison because it would die. Thankfully, the tarantula wasn't startled by Stern's high-pitched scream since it didn't have ears. Number 4. Columbus gets a lesson on how not to parent. For all the laughs Macaulay Culkin brought, his childhood wasn't the easiest. This was largely due to his reportedly cruel father, Kit Culkin. When Home Alone was in production, Columbus didn't have a ton of experience in the parenting department yet.
How you doing, pal?
Good. Chris, do you need any help?
Finish your set. I need you to direct this scene. You okay? I'm all confused.
Okay. Sometimes Chris needs some help setting up shots.
Thus, Culkin's real-life family environment wasn't the first thing that came to mind. As the filmmakers started hearing, quote, hair-raising stories about the Culkins, Columbus realized his movie star had, quote, a troubled family life.
While his success brought his family unexpected wealth, it also plunged them into emotional bankruptcy and then into the courthouse.
Macaulay blames his father for some of the family turmoil.
This only became more apparent to Columbus in 1995 when the Culkins entered a bitter custody battle. Columbus said at the time, quote, if I were a kid, I'd want my parents to be fighting for custody of me because they love me, not for money. It's a little bit depressing.
It's doubly hard to go through the teenage years growing up and you have issues with your parents. Imagine if it's a business relationship in addition.
Number 3. The Wet Bandits struggle to keep it PG. Being an early 90s PG movie, Home Alone got away with more casual swearing than you would hear nowadays. This is one of the most restrained projects in Joe Pesci's filmography, however.
What? 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 What happened?
Get that little...
Being a frequent collaborator of Martin Scorsese, Pesci was used to dropping profanities every other sentence. According to Columbus, Pesci memorized his dialogue by putting a certain four-lettered word at the end of each line.
Said every time I get a script, if it's not a Scorsese script, because the only way I can read it is if I add every 3 or 4 words.
Then, when the cameras rolled, Pesci uttered Yosemite Sam-esque gibberish to express Harry's pain, but we all know what words he was thinking of. Honestly, anybody who took one down there would swear up a storm in reality. Daniel Stern also had trouble keeping it family-friendly, with one accidental slip of a swear word making it into the movie.
Shit.
Number 2. Stunt people. Unsung heroes. Audiences still laugh themselves silly watching the Wet Bandits pratfall through the McAllister house. For the people on set, though, the experience was beyond nerve-wracking.
Of all the tough jobs on this movie, these guys probably had it the hardest.
The film's stunt crew included Troy Brown doubling for Joe Pesci, Leon Delaney doubling for Daniel Stern, and Larry Nicholas doubling for Macaulay Culkin. Brown in particular described the experience as a lot of fun, but when Harry slipped on the icy stairs, the rest of the crew was terrified.
I would yell, cut, and I'd say, is he okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why?
And Troy remained fine. Fall after fall, night after night.
Columbus even thought to himself, quote, "This guy is not alive." But Brown assured him that he was fine afterward. While the stunt guys were troopers throughout, Columbus recalled Nicholas getting jitters when Kevin fell from the collapsing shelves. We imagine Nicholas had more fun riding Kevin's sled downstairs. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Joe Pesci actually bit Macaulay Culkin's finger. 9-year-old Macaulay Culkin could have used a stunt double for the scene where Harry and Marv finally catch Kevin.
First thing I'm gonna do is bite off every one of these little fingers, one at a time.
Hanging Kevin on the door, Harry prepares to bite off his tormentor's fingers. Luckily, Old Man Marley shows up just in time to whack the wet bandits with his shovel. That was a real shovel, according to Troy Brown, but the real pain came during rehearsals when Pesci apparently got a little too into character.
During rehearsal, he actually bit me, and it broke the skin and everything. I'm a little 9-year-old boy.
Culkin claims that Pesci actually bit his finger, and he still has the tooth mark to prove it. Taking pride in his battle wound, Culkin doesn't think Pesci intended to bite down that hard.
I don't think he did it on purpose. He bit me. And I think he just meant to put his teeth on my finger, but he bit down a little harder than he thought.
Still, Columbus could not help but suspect that there might have been a little, quote, professional jealousy on Pesci's part. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.